Yeah, I did change, and I'm really glad I changed.
This one's wife. Why did she double grip Harry at the ESPYs? Hello, I'm HG Tudor. The appearance of Harry and this one's wife at the ESPYs, when Harry attended to collect the Pat Tillman Award for Service, generated not only a lot of controversy, but also an opportunity to analyse more of this one's wife's behaviour in terms of her interaction with Harry, and also more widely in relation to audience response to her and the Prince of Pink Pancakes. One factor that came out of it was the fact that when Harry was announced and called to receive his award, he rose from his seat, and this one's wife had a grip on his hand, as she invariably does, exercising the grip of doom. But she double gripped him, and there has been some speculation as to what that meant. Let's have a look at the short piece of video footage where this happens. Here it is. It's not the clearest piece of video footage, as the camera slightly cuts off part of their hands. But as I'm talking, you'll see coming across your screen some stills which have been obtained, which demonstrates that there was a clear clasp of one and then two hands on Harry's hand. He looks like he can't wait to get away from her, and looks very apprehensive about being called on stage, undoubtedly anticipating that there would be a hostile audience reception to him, which is why he sought out the shield of the other three individuals remaining on stage, so that if they were stood there, the booing would be less likely to come forward. In relation to this one's wife's double-handed grip on Harry, some people have put forward their views as to what she was trying to achieve. And naturally, it's always useful for people to think about this and express their views. Two views have been advanced in the main. The first is that she was attempting to get Harry to take her up on stage also, because then she could bask in the adoration and make it all about her, which, of course, on the face of it, seems eminently likely, doesn't it? This one's wife is a narcissist. She has form for sticking herself at the centre of things which don't involve her. Remember when she was at the polo and she sought to get her hands on the trophy, even though she didn't play and it was nothing to do with her. We've seen her where she's elbowed people out of the way so that she's seen more prominently, how she's kept Harry in the background. So it would make sense, wouldn't it, that she would have wanted to go up on the stage and be seen with him so that she could receive the applause because she thinks it's all about her. The second suggestion was that she was wanting Harry to turn to her and give her a kiss so that she was involved in the moment, that it would enable her to manage her facade of, see, we're a wonderful couple that are in love and he absolutely adores me, and to present that to the outside world to show that they are a unified outfit. Again, that's entirely conceivable. After all, she wants to piggyback the success of others because that's a typical behaviour of the narcissist. Other people are viewed as an extension of the narcissist. Their achievements, their activities, become those of the narcissist by virtue of character trait acquisition. So again, it's conceivable that she might have been trying to stop him going so that he turned and gave her a kiss. Both of those suggestions are plausible, but in actual fact are incorrect. Here's why. Let's deal with the issue of her going up on the stage. If she'd have wanted to go up on the stage, she would have just followed him. She would have already said to Harry, I'm going to come with you. Remember, she doesn't have any boundary recognition. She functions with a rampant sense of entitlement. She has no accountability for her behaviour. So if she wanted to go up on the stage, she would have just followed Harry. She would have walked alongside him. The fact that they were no longer holding hands wouldn't be relevant. She would have just gone up there. She wouldn't be bothered by the fact that it would irritate Harry. She would deal with that later. Her narcissism would simply do this. There's a huge amount to gain by walking up there. Lots of fuel. If Harry doesn't like it, that's just a minor consideration. It's not like he's going to turn around and shove her and say, sit the fuck back down, biatch. That's not going to happen. So her narcissism would know that she could just follow him up there, stand to one side whilst he talks, and perhaps even stand alongside him, arm wrapped around him, one hand gripping him continually, in order to bask in the reflected glory of the applause that he was receiving. Thus, her narcissism would cause her to walk up there anyway. It wasn't the case that her hand was gripping him with the expectation of being taken up there. She'd have done it anyway if the narcissism deemed that it would have been appropriate. Secondly, what about the suggestion that she was clinging on to him in order to force him to embrace her, give her a hug or such like? Well, whilst it's plausible, it's incorrect, because you'll notice that she didn't hold on particularly tightly. Harry didn't have to sort of shrug off her hand. He didn't have to sort of shake his hand away. It just drifted from hers. So she wasn't actually attempting to keep him there, or, going back to the first point, attempting to follow him. She doesn't rise from her seat. If she had have wanted to go up on the stage, she would have held his hand and risen from her seat and followed him. She didn't do that. If she was expecting that he would embrace her in some way, she'd have kept a tighter hold on his hand, and he would have had to literally have shaken her off. That didn't happen either. And it's the absence of those two physical aspects which, combined with the point that I'm going to tell you in a moment, confirms that the suggestion that she did this to cause him to take her up on the stage or to cause him to kiss her is incorrect. I've explained this briefly in a separate video, but given the confusion that has been exhibited in relation to why she held on to him in the way that she did, I thought it appropriate to make this video also and expand on the reasons why the reason she double-gripped Harry wasn't anything to do with going up on the stage or forcing him to embrace her, but everything to do with what I'm about to tell you now. The fact is, as I've explained in a separate video, she was repeatedly holding Harry's hand to establish control over him and demonstrate ownership, subconsciously, to the world at large. He belongs to me. She was still doing that when he was announced. She was still asserting physical control over him. She was still managing the facade by saying to the world, he belongs to me. Now, ordinarily, somebody with boundary recognition and emotional empathy would have naturally removed their hand from their partner at the announcement in anticipation of that person getting up and going to the stage. She didn't. Why? 1, she has no emotional empathy. 2, her narcissism plays catch-up. As I've explained in my brilliant video, The Imitation Game, her narcissism, in effect, operates with a lag with regard to what she's meant to do. Therefore, somebody with emotional empathy would, at the time that Harry was announced as being the recipient of the award, naturally remove their hand to allow Harry to then, the next moment, walk up to the stage. She doesn't, because her emotional empathy is non-existent, and instead, her narcissism almost wakes up and goes, right, what are we meant to do in these circumstances? Harry's going up on the stage. Oh, we better now let go of his hand. And because of that lag, she was still holding his hand to demonstrate control and ownership over Harry as he got up. Thus, to those who don't fully understand narcissism, they thought, oh, look, she's clinging on to him because she wants to go up on the stage too. No. Or she's clinging on to him because she wants him to embrace her. No. The fact that she didn't move and that she didn't cling on to him means it wasn't either of those things. And furthermore, the fact is, because she's a mid-range narcissist with an absence of emotional empathy and a somewhat malfunctioning cognitive empathy, there was the usual lag, which meant she was still holding his hand as he moved away. It wasn't that she was trying to stop him. It was simply that she'd not caught up with the action, so to speak, to let go, and then she did. You'll have seen this lag, or you'll know to look out for it. You'll see sometimes that there's a pause in the way that the narcissist responds before all of a sudden their narcissism realizes, oh, they need to smile or look concerned or cry. Once you know to look for it, you'll see it with the narcissist because it isn't a natural reaction. It is a learned reaction, and that means that there is a time delay. Sometimes it's very small indeed, almost too small to discern. In other instances, you will notice it once you know what to look for. And what you were seeing there was the lag generated by her narcissism, which meant that as Harry moved away, she still kept hold of his hand, because in effect she was still trying to assert control over him and maintain that facade of ownership. It's a little bit like if you're playing a game on the computer and the internet's lagging. Your character doesn't do what you want to for a second or so, and then it does. This was similar. It was a delayed response by her. And that's the reason why she maintained a double grip on Harry at the ESPYs. Once again, understanding narcissism allows you to get to the actuality of what's going on. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for watching.